Hello everyone, I'm Robert Evans.
And I'm Christophe Nasarre.
And we're here in San Francisco at the Microsoft Build Conference. You may have already seen some of the announcements around Windows 8.1 features.
And we would like to show you, as a developer, how to leverage these new features for your own code. Let's start with the new tiles.
Windows 8.1 brings a lot of changes in the start screen. Among them, the user will find two new sizes of tiles, a larger and smaller square tiles. You can see them here on the screen. You have the small one and you have the bigger one. So let's see what's the impact for the developer. Let's go to Visual Studio, the preview of Visual Studio 2013, and I've created an empty blank page application, and I jump into the package manifest. As you can see here, the information on the tiles looks quite the same as with the previous version of Visual Studio. We just get a few new assets. First, we get the square 70 by 70, which is the small one that I described earlier. We have the big one, which is the square 310 by 310, and in between we have the previous 150 by 150, which is the square one. It used to be called the logo, and the wide, the one with 310 by 150, was also called wide, so there is no big changes here. And the last one, the square 30 by 30 logo, used to be called small. So that's the main changes that we have in terms of size for the tiles. There is also some changes in the manifest to let you customize how your application will behave when it will be installed on an 8.1 machine. You can see here on the right there is a new combo box called the default size, where you can select which one should appear once the application has been installed. So it's either the square, the 150 by 150 logo, or the wide, the 310 by 150. In Windows 8, you didn't have the choice. If you provided a wide logo, then the wide logo would be visible once the application is installed. Now, even if you provide a wide logo, then you can decide that no, when it gets installed, the user will see the square logo. That's interesting to be able to customize this kind of behavior after installation. Also, there is a tiny change in the way you can decide whether or not the title, the name, would appear in which tile. So instead of having a combo box, it used to be a combo box for deciding where the name should appear on which tile. Now it's been replaced by a more usable set of choices, so you can select on which tile you want your name to appear. You just notice that it's not possible to make a name appear on the small one, on the 70 by 70, because it's obviously too small to display valuable information in form of text. That's mainly the new changes for a developer. So you just have to add the new wide if you need a real big one, the big square, and if you want to provide a small version, you just have to provide the same 70 by 70 logo in your assets. That's it.
That was great, Christophe, but what about live tiles?
Let me show you the live tiles.
Obviously, with these new tile sizes, we need new templates for animate them and provide live tiles to the users. Among the sample provided by the Windows SDK, you should look for the tiles folder. Let's take a look at it with Visual Studio. I've copied it from the installation folder into my my hard drive, and from the modern one, looking for the tiles samples. Go to the C# version and open up in Visual Studio. The interesting part is in the XAML, so make it a little bit bigger for you, and you can see that all the templates get a name based on the size of the resulting tile, which is not bad for us to figure out what's going on. And you see you have the new size with the 310, and you have many templates. So the best way to see them is just to run the sample and go to the fifth choice, which is preview all tile notification template. And in the combo box here you get the list that we've just seen in XAML, and so you can list and browse all the different templates and you can preview the result. That's a very handy sample, so you can select and find out which template would be better for your own application. That's easy to use.
So you know everything about live tiles. Robert, do you have any other control that you want to mention?
I'm glad you asked. There's a ton of new controls. Let me show you guys.
Okay.
Alright, here in Visual Studio 2013, let's go ahead and explore some of the new controls that we have. So you'll see in here, first of all, DatePicker. That has been highly requested. We've also added TimePicker. There we go. And let's add a couple of other controls on here. Button obviously was pre-existing. Move that around. Let's add text box. And let's go in here. Okay, so you may have already guessed what I'm going to do here. This is new. Control period to add using so this is asynchronous, so we're going to do under async, and this takes the UI element, so we'll just do this entire content like that, and then we'll set the screenshot image source, since this render target bitmap is an image source, to that, and there we go. Let's test that out. So it's a little bit different than say Silverlight and writable bitmap, which takes UI elements in the constructor. Okay, so here we go. Ta-da! Bitmap rendered from the XAML.
Nice additions, Robert. I know a lot of developers who will be happy with the new XAML to bitmap rendering stuff. I just noticed that you didn't show up anything about the app bar and the flyout.
Yeah, please show us that.
Okay, let's go.
The way the app bar control is working changes a little bit in Windows 8.1. Instead of accepting character-based glyphs defined in the standard styles.xaml file, you can now add dedicated controls in it, and even the Windows Store UI guidelines are enforced by the new CommandBar control. It lets you split your commands between a primary set that are global to a page on the right-hand side and a secondary set that are related to the current selection placed on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's see how it works from scratch in a simple blank project. We create a new blank project. Let's see, blank project, and we will add an application bar into our main page. So we open up the main page, which is empty by default. We just take a look at the XAML only, and we will add the app bar. This is exactly the same as it was in Windows 8. You just add a new page dot bottom app bar, and what it changes now is the fact that you will add a command bar instead of the usual controls based on the glyphs from the Sego UI font. So let's add a command bar, and in the command bar we will have what I mentioned earlier, the primary commands. So you will have the command bar dot primary commands, and we will have another one which is the secondary. So same command bar dot secondary commands. Okay, so now we can add new controls in it, and we have more latitude to add commands here. Basically, we add what we call the app bar button. So it is an app bar button, and in the app bar button you can define the label, which is the text that will appear on the screen. Let's say sound, and we can select primary command. I'm just a little bit too fast here. So with the sound, finishing the app bar button element, so I set the text that will appear below the command, and now when I need to define which glyph will appear on the screen, I have an icon property that I set with a string, and the string is based on an enumeration, and we can just take a look at the enumeration right now when we go back to the code. So I'll make it a little bit bigger, and if you go to symbols like this, and you just use the IntelliSense to get more information about what the different values you can set here. You have a lot of different glyphs that are usable, and they really maps what you have before with the Sego UI characters, Unicode characters that you find in the standard styles.xaml file. But here it's in an enumeration, and you can find all the information. If you want to have the exact list, you just do the same. Go to right click and go to definition, and then you will have the list of all the different glyphs that you can use with this app bar button. Let's go back to the XAML. Here we are. First remove that line that won't compile. Let's go back to the XAML. So in the XAML page, I've added this icon. I can use exactly the same for the second one, and I will change the label to take a picture, for example, and I will select another one. There is a camera glyph, and so with this we just run the application. Let's see what the result. We will have a blank page because this is a blank application, but when we right click we have to take the picture on the left because it's the secondary area, and the sound on the right, so that's fine. Let's go back to the Visual Studio. Just to let you know that the icon property can take different objects. So here we are using the symbol icon that use a glyphs taken from the Sego UI symbol charset, which is the default one. If you want to use another font than the Sego UI, you can use the font icon type, and that way you can define which kind of fonts, such as the windings. If you want to know which glyphs are available, there is a tiny tool which is very useful, which is char map. So we use char map, character map, and when you take a look at, for example, the windings, let's make it a little bigger, you can see you have a lot of glyphs, lots of different glyphs that you can use in your buttons, much more than in the Sego UI char set only. So this is an additional level of freedom for you. I mentioned that you have the symbol icon for the Sego UI, you have the font icon for which you can select the font that you want. You also have the bitmap icon that is built from an image URI, and then finally you have the path icon, so you can build your own glyph from a path geometry. This is nice. You can also use the app bar separator instead of the app bar button if you want to make some groups inside your buttons, and you can also use the app bar toggle button for like on-off state inside your app bar. This is just a small preview of what you can do with the app bar. I would recommend that you take a look at the corresponding sample from the SDK, and the name of the sample is called app bar control. Easy. You have, as usual, the CPP, the C#, and the VB.NET sample. What I would show you right now is what is new in addition to the app bar. It's the Flyout control that gets extended, and you can now assign a flyout on any menu, or any menu on any button derived class. So if we take our application as a host, we'll show you that you can define very easily some pop-ups attached to a command, or even a context menu on them. So let's start with the first one, with the sound. So with the sound, we will need to define inside the sound the flyout. So it's the app bar button dot, whoops, I'm not very good, the app bar button dot flyout attach property, and here you need to define a flyout, and I will define my flyout like this. It will be a flyout, and in the flyout I will define a kind of confirmation dialog. So I will create a stack panel that contains a text block, which will be the label of the demand for the confirmation. Text block with the text, something like, since we are in the audio, do you really want to play a sound? Question mark. And that's for the label, and I will add also a button for the confirmation, and the button will be with the name, because I'm interested in getting the click event, something like a button sound confirmation, and I will listen to the click event. And what I would add is yes as the answer, and if you dismiss the flyout, it's supposed to be like you don't want to play the sound. So we need to know if the flyout is dismissed, and to do so we have different events on the flyout itself. We have the opening event, which occurs before the flyout opens, so you can do any processing you want here. I will have my opening. You can have the opened event that is triggered after the flyout opens, and I will add a new handler to that. And finally you will have the closed event, flyout closed. So here we have 3 different handlers that will be called on the different events. This is something we should go to the source code. So I have my empty methods. I will do some tracing just to show you one of the nice features of Windows 8.1 when you need to do some debugging or some tracing of what's going on in your code. So let's use the debug dot write line. I just want to show what is the flow of execution here. So I'm using the name of the method here, drag and drop, copy, flyout. I will do the same here, just copy, paste, and we have the open here, and last but not least, the closed. And so what I would be interested in having is kind of seeing what's going on with my traces, but I don't want to debug. And what I could do before Windows 8.1 was using 2 different physical screens and having my debugging session on one screen and the other running session on the other screen. But what you can do now with Windows 8.1 is having like a half screen for the desktop with your debugger or your tracing, and half of the screen for your application. And I will be using one tool from the sysinternal website, which is called Debug View. And with Debug View, you will see all the traces that you've doing with the debug.write line outside of a debugging session. And so what I will do, I will start the application, and as usual we have the two buttons, but I want to see what happened. So what I will do, I will Windows tab to have the different application that I can get, even the desktop, and I will drag and drop, not the calendar, this is not what I wanted to do, but the desktop, and I drag and drop the desktop on the other side. So I will have half of the screen for my Visual Studio or my Debug View, and I will have half of the screen for my application. This is really helpful for us developers. So if I right click, I get my app bar, and I click on the sound, I will get my flyout, and you will see on the right that my 2 events are triggered, the flyout opening and the flyout opened. So since I moved from my application to another application, it was dismissed, so I received the flyout closed event. You see, very handy to have 2 applications, and even the desktop on one side of my screen and my Windows Store application on the other side. Very handy. So what I want to do now is adding a little bit more code. So I will close my application and go back in full screen for my Visual Studio. What I will do is just to show you what you can get from the different event if you need to get some information, and if you want to dismiss the flyout when you click on the yes button. So what you could do is keep track of the confirmation flyout. So I will keep track of it on a flyout member, and it will be my confirmation flyout, which will be null by default. And so when I receive the opened event, I will keep track of this flyout. The confirmation flyout will be my sender. So this is the sender that I received in my event handler. So it's the 7, and it's flyout. So now I have the confirmation flyout, and when I will click on my yes button, I will be able to dismiss the flyout programmatically. It's very, very simple. I just do something like if confirmation flyout is not null. I'm a little bit paranoid about the null references, so I prefer to check everything, even if it's, in this case it will never be null. If it's not null, then I can call any method on it, and the method I'm interested in is the hide method. So when I'm calling hide, I'm saying, okay, please close the flyout. It's quite simple. So let's test this. Control F5, run it, do a right click, the sound, and I do yes, and the flyout is dismissed. It's easy to use. There is another kind of flyout which is also handy, is something close to a contextual menu that you define on a button. So let's go back to the XAML, and on the take a picture element, what I will do is I will, whoops, I'm typing a little bit too fast, so I want to have inside my app button exactly the same way I had my flyout for the sound, the side command. I will now define in my app bar button, whoops, button.flyout, and what I will define inside the flyout, it's not a simple flyout with any UI element in it, but I will use a menu flyout, which is menu flyout. And this menu flyout, what I'm doing, I'm defining all the items that appear on the menu flyout, and it's very simple. You have different choices. You have the menu flyout item that you can define, and for this one I will add the different choices that the user can select on my menu item. The first one will be like use the camera, the second one will be use the webcam, and I can have a separator in between, the menu flyout separator. I don't need the whole like this, and I will add the last thing I can use is a toggle menu flyout item, and this one is exactly the same as the other one. You can define the text, and the text will be something like if we have filters, for example, I will say, okay, I want you to enable the filters, and I will define the click event to be notified when this choice is taken. I can do the same with the camera and the webcam. I will show you that you can use the same method handler for both, and you can make the difference with the information you will receive in the event handler. I will see that just in a minute. So here I have two method handlers, the menu flyout item click and the toggle menu flyout item click. If we go to the code, we have the two handlers here. Let's start with the filter. The filter was a toggle menu, and in the toggle menu you can know what from where you are coming. So you have the toggle menu flyout item. The toggle menu flyout item, which is the item, is the sender, as in the previous example that we cast into a toggle menu flyout item. And from this, always paranoid, if item different null, I can grab and extract some information from this. So for example, in my case, what I want to know if it's on or off. So I will add a trace debug.writeLine, and in my writeLine I will say filters are either on or off. So I know that's by the item dot, sorry, it's not item, it's little item dot, is it check or not? So if it's checked, it will be on, and otherwise it will be off. So that's a very simple way to get the information. I told you that you can attach the same event handler, the menu flyout item check we attach for both menu item, and you can make the difference with either the text or the tag. So same here, we can take the same kind of code, just copy and paste, but instead of being a toggle menu item, it's a symbol menu flyout item. This is the sender, and then it's no more checked. So I just want to show you which one has been selected. So I say option, and it will be the text, just for an example. So if you are working with localized version of your application, which is the recommendation for the store, you shouldn't use the text, because the text will be localized, but you can definitely use something like a tag. So if you go to this place where the two menu flyout items are defined, you can use a tag, set it like a value, an ID corresponding to a command, for example, and let's do the same for the second one. We will have one for the camera, two for the webcam, and when we will do the difference, instead of checking the text as we are doing here, I can just define something like let's show the tag first, which would be the ID, and then we will have the text. So here you can make the difference between the two commands. If we run that code, and I will use the same trick to get the traces at the same times with the Windows desktop, drag and drop it on the side, and I will use my debug view, clear the content, go to the sound, it's opening, we have the selection, that's exactly what we had the second time. So for the take the picture, when you click on it, you see we have this kind of custom menu with the toggle button. When I click on the toggle button, you can see that the filters are on, and if I go back to the menu, you will see there is a check mark saying that they are enabled. If I click on camera, I will get the camera command done, and it will be the option 1, which is defined by the tag. It's quite simple, as you can see. You can do much more than what I've just shown you here. And if we go back to the Windows SDK sample, there is one sample dedicated to the flyout, and I would recommend that you take a look at the flyouts code sample. You will see how to share flyout between consoles, how to have flyout on non-button controls, and even having dynamic content on the flyout. That's quite simple. Talking about flyout, in Windows 8, when you need to provide settings flyout pages, you have to implement your own processing based on the pop-up class or rely on third parties such as Callisto library by TimePicker. With Windows 8.1, a simple settings flyout class does all that for you. You design it as a normal page and call either show or show independent to display it with the expected animation. The difference between the two is simple. With the former, the settings pane appears after the flyout is dismissed. With the latter, the user comes back to the application page. Let's take an example because it's easier to understand. I will use the sample corresponding to this new settings flyout, which is defined in the application settings sample. So not the C++, but the C# one. Let's open up the project solution, and if I'm running the application, you will see what I try to explain, and we will take a look at the source code just after that. Let's compile, run. We have the settings flyout. So as it's explained in the sample, we have the swipe the right edge on the screen to invoke the CommandBar and select settings. or Windows I. I'm taking Windows I, and I have the default command. When I click on it, I get this nice animation that end up into my flyout settings. And if I go to the back button, I will go back to the settings. Okay. If I'm taking another example, which is the programmatically show the settings flyout without going through the charm on the right, I click on the button and you see the settings flyout just pops up with the same animation, but when I'm dismissing it or when I'm just clicking outside, I don't have the usual setting charm that appears. I will show you the code to implement that. It's really, really simple. So let's go back to Visual Studio and take a look at the scenario. We have the XAML for this this stuff that show you how you call the settings flyout. Here we have two different classes. The settings flyout 1, which is defined as a page. So if you take a look at the XAML and the resulting stuff, it's exactly what you see on my screen. Try to make it a little bit bigger when I run it. You have all the controls that we've seen swiped from the right, all the toggles of the button, all that stuff, and it's defining the XAML as a settings flyout. This is the new class, and then you define your UI element as you would normally do with a page or with a control. And when you want to use it, I just show you in the example that we had here. You just new up your settings flyout class, and you show either the show independent. The show independent one will leave the page where it was, and if you call, I think it's in scenario 3, if you just call the show command here, it will go back to the normal settings on the right, the setting charms. So you can see, very, very easy to use. You define your settings flyout like a page, and you just make it appear either with the show or with the show independent. So it's really, really, really simple. Same, you have this example from the Windows SDK. If you want to dig a little bit more on the example, it's quite simple.
Wow. So, no more Callisto for my settings flyout?
No. But I was thinking about how about transitioning my Windows 8 project into the Windows 8.1 project?
It's really easy. I'm glad you asked. Let me show you.
In order to demonstrate targeting, let's start off on a Windows 8 machine and Visual Studio 2012. Let's create a new project. We'll just use the Grid app. And we'll just copy all of those files over to our USB. Alright, now let's transition over to the 8.1 machine. Okay, so here we are on Windows 8.1, which you can tell by the addition of the Start button. I've copied those project files over locally here, so let's open them up. And you can see you'll be prompted to retarget to Windows 8.1. The retargeting is recommended. Here it is. And if you go to the project properties, you'll notice that the target platform version is Windows 8. Before we do anything, let's rebuild. And it succeeded. Let's do a deploy. And it succeeded. Now let's run it. There we go. Runs fine. And even supports snapping. You can see the scrolling orientation is changed to vertical while snapped. So now to retarget it, just choose Windows 8.1 from the target platform version like that, and you'll be prompted. It'll create a backup copy. Once you retarget to 8.1, we'll say cancel. This is not published yet. Once you retarget to 8.1, you cannot go back to target it to 8. So here we go. Now the target platform version is 8.1. You can see that there. And what that has done under the covers, actually, so we can take a look at that. You can unload the project and then edit the CS proj, and right here you can see target platform version is now 8.1. We'll go and reload that project and build it. So you can see when I'm building it, I'm getting a few warnings down here. Application view state is obsolete. Application view state may be altered and are unavailable. Instead, query for the Windows layout sizes directly. All three of these warnings are pointing to here, the layout-aware page.cs, which coincidentally does not exist in the new template projects in Visual Studio 2013 for grid template. But before we make any changes, let's go and start debugging now that we've retargeted. There we go. It runs fine. And we'll snap it. You can see now the scrolling orientation does not change to vertical while snapped. Now that's the default behavior also in the grid template project in Visual Studio 2013, so you might be happy to just leave it there as is. If you want to re-enable vertical scrolling, we can make some simple changes to do that. This Windows size changed event will still fire in 8.1, and so what we can do we'll add a visual state string, and then we'll just check if the width is less than, say, 1024. Then we want to make that visual state snapped. And then we'll just pass that in. And we'll go into here. And this is where it's breaking, this application view, because that's obsolete now. So instead, now we'll just pass in that visual state. There we go. And it builds, and let's run it. There we go. So now we've got scrolling orientation working through Visual State Manager while it is snapped. And horizontal while full.
Easy indeed.
Yeah, but you know, we're only scratching the surface of all of the features that we have in Windows 8.1.
Yeah, you should follow the link that we provide at the bottom of our blog, and you will have the new MSDN updates, the list of all the new samples from the Windows SDK, and a tool that we've written to let you list all the new types and new members added to WinRT 8.1. Have fun.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.